Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Isha Amatya, and I'm very pleased to present my presentation today. And I'm very thankful to the organizing team for selecting me. So I'm sharing my slides. Can you see my slide?
Yes, please put it on full screen mode.
Okay, sir. Okay. Can you view my slide, please?
Yes, it's perfect. You can start.
Okay. Now I would like to start my presentation. So my topic of the presentation is a cross-sectional study of the knowledge and attitude regarding the breast cancer among the students of higher secondary schools of Bhaktapur district, that is in the Nepal. And starting with the introductions, breast cancer in the women is a major health burden, and globally, 24.2% of women diagnosed with breast cancer, and in Nepal, total death in female due to breast cancer reached to 7.7%. So, as the knowledge plays an important role in the improvement of health seeking behavior, so providing the knowledge regarding the breast cancer may positively affect the attitude and practice as an adult. So, the main objectives of this study is to assess knowledge and attitude regarding the breast cancer among the students of higher secondary schools of Bhaktapur district. And my specific objective is to assess the knowledge and attitude regarding the risk factors, signs and symptoms, methods of diagnosis, and the different screening programs of the breast cancer. And also to compare the knowledge and attitude regarding the breast cancer according to the gender. So, this is the conceptual framework of my study here. We are assessing the knowledge, different factor which affects the knowledge and attitude, that is the factors like risk factors, signs and symptoms, methods of diagnosis, and screening. These all factors we are assessing about the knowledge and attitude with the participants, and other factor which may affect the knowledge and attitude of the participants, like socio-demographic factor of the participant, that is age, sex, education, religion, and ethnicity, and also the parental factor like education and occupation of the parents, that directly affect the knowledge and attitude of the adolescents or the participants. Another factor that may also affect is family history, and the mass media may affect the knowledge and attitude of the participants. So this is the analytical cross-sectional study, and my study period is 1 year, and I have taken both the government and private higher secondary schools of Bhaktapur districts, and my study population were the students who are enrolled in the grade 11 and 12. So the students who were present during the duration of the study were included in the study, and the students who did not give the informed consent were excluded from the study. And then for the data collection tools, this is the semi-structured questionnaire, which have few open-ended and contain the 4 sections. That the questionnaire were divided into socio-demographic information, source regarding the breast cancer, knowledge regarding the breast cancer, and attitude towards the breast cancer. The sample size were calculated using the formula the Z square PQ by D square, taking the 95% confidence interval, and P as P as 79.8%, and allowable error of 5%. We have the sample size of 400. Then the stratification were done on the basis of the gender, and putting the anticipated non-response rate of 10%, we have the final sample size of 890. Now this is sampling technique. There are a total of 15 government and 8 private higher secondary schools in the Bhaktapur district. And by doing the simple random sampling, we choose the 5 government and 3 private higher secondary schools. Then regarding the grade, for choosing the grade 11 and 12 classes, by simple random sampling or by the PPS method, probability proportional to size. We choose at least one section per grade, that is from grade 11 and 12. So we have the total of 36 sections were taken, and all the students from the selected sections were chosen. And so we have taken the total of 990 participants in this study. Then results were divided like in the questionnaire, that is socio-demographic information of the respondent, source of information, knowledge regarding the breast cancer, and attitude towards the breast cancer. Now, first is socio-demographic information. There were a total of 990 participants. In that, there were 452 male and 538 female. And in that, 65.4% were from of the participants were from the age group from 14 to 17 years, and 34.6% of the participants were from the age group of 18 to 21 years. Majority of the participants were Hindu by religion, and Janajati by ethnicity, that is 60%. And regarding the occupation of the father and mother, 75% of the participants' father were self-employed, and regarding the occupation of mother, more than 50% of the participants' mother were homemakers. And regarding the education of the father and mother, more than 1/3 of the respondents' father have completed the secondary level of education, and 50% of the participants' mother have completed their primary level of education. Almost all of the respondents have heard about breast cancer. And regarding the source of information about the breast cancer, the most common source were from the media. That is, media includes the television, radio, newspaper, the social media or internet. That is 56.4% of male and 55.8% of female have heard the breast cancer from the media. The next section was the knowledge of respondent regarding the breast cancer, and the knowledge were further classified in the 7th section, that is epidemiology, risk factors, signs and symptoms, treatment, BSc breast self-examination, CD's clinical breast examination, and mammogram. Here each questions were analyzed and given the correct answer were given as 1, and all the scores were added, and the score less than 50% were categorized as poor knowledge, and score more than or equals to 50% were categorized as good knowledge. So this graph showing the level of knowledge of the respondent, that good and poor. Here almost 90%, that is 89.6% of male and 88.5% of the female have a poor knowledge regarding the breast cancer. And the next is this graph showing the level of good knowledge. That is 72.6% of male and 71.7% of female have good knowledge regarding the treatment of the breast cancer. And similarly, more than 50%, that is 52.9% of male and 58.4% of female have good knowledge regarding the epidemiology of the breast cancer. Likewise, we like to show the association relationship between knowledge and various socio-demographic factor. That we analyze the various socio-demographic factor like age, gender, education of the respondent, occupation of the father and mother of the respondent, and the religion and ethnicity of the respondent, and also the education of the father and mother. And the socio-demographic factor which shows a p-value less than 0.02, that is religion and ethnicity of the respondent and education of the father and mother, were further analyzed and shows the association further adjusted with each other. And after adjustment, that is religion, ethnicity, and education of father and mother. After adjustment, none of the respondent shows the significant relationship with each other. The next part will the attitude of the respondent towards the breast cancer. And here also attitude will categorize, further classified into three groups, that is risk factor and symptoms, diagnosis and treatment, and awareness. And we have the many statements about the attitude of the respondents towards the breast cancer, and each statement will scored by giving the strongly positive, neutral, negative, and strongly negative attitude, and score as 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 respectively. And here also each scores will added, and less than 50% of score will categorize as poor attitude, and more than 50% of score will categorize as good attitudes. And this graph shows the level of attitude of the respondent toward the breast cancer. Here, it shows that 50.9% of male and 63.2% of the female have good attitudes towards the breast cancer. And this also shows the level of good attitudes of the respondents. Here, attitude were divided into risk factor and classified into risk factor symptoms, diagnosis and treatment, and awareness. Here, 60.4% of male and 73.4% of female have good attitude regarding the awareness towards the breast cancer. Then, I have listed some of the positive attitude and some of the negative attitudes of the respondents towards the breast cancer. And then, so first, I would like to show some of the positive attitude of the respondent. That is, 49.2% of the respondent thought that every woman is at risk of breast cancer, and 67.2% of respondent feels that men should also have equally knowledge about the breast cancer, and also 66.9% of the respondent thought that mass media helps to raise awareness, and 69.5% of the respondent feels that awareness programs in schools are necessary. So these are the positive attitudes. Now I have also listed some of the negative attitudes of the respondents towards the breast cancer. That is, 34.6% of the respondent thought that it's okay for them if they have lump in the breast unless it is painful or discharge. And 64.4% of the respondent feels that most of the women are not aware of the appropriate way of breast examination, and 44.3% of the respondent hesitate or feel shy for going for the breast examinations. So, and the next is we like to analyze the relationship between the attitude and various sociodemographic factor, like in the knowledge factor, and the various sociodemographic factor are the age and religion of the respondent, occupation and education of the father and mother of the respondent, gender, education, and ethnicity of the respondent. And the sociodemographic factor, which shows the p-value, that is by doing the root odds ratio, p-value less than 0.2, that is less than 20%, will further adjusted with each other. Then after adjustment, here shows that the male respondent have less chance of having good attitude towards breast cancer in comparison to female, and similarly, attitude towards breast cancer increases as the grade of the respondent increases. And the next is the ethnicity. Here, the respondent who belonging to the Dalit and Janjati by ethnic group has less chance of having good attitudes towards breast cancer in comparison to the Kshatriya by ethnicity. Now, concluding, nearly 90% had poor knowledge towards the breast cancer, and nearly 2/3 of the female and 50% of the male respondent had good attitude. Here are the general education, ethnicity of the respondents, so the positive association towards the attitude of the breast cancer. Now, what will be the public health implication of this study in the futures? First is that this study helped to assess the knowledge and attitude of the adolescent regarding the breast cancer. As more knowledge of the breast cancer in the adolescent is very poor, and also the students are at the stage but it is significant that they at least carry out the BSE, that is breast self-examination, on a regular basis to sense any changes early, and this will greatly influence their practice as they grow older. And also including the knowledge regarding the breast cancer and practice in their educational program would be helpful, as adolescents become an agent for promoting the breast cancer awareness in the family as well in the society. And also, lastly, the study findings may be an opportunity for health policymaker to implement the national protocol regarding the breast cancer screening in Nepal for breast cancer prevention in the future. And thank you.